Osho said the greatest fear in the world is the opinion of others. And the moment you're unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep. You become a lion. A great roar arises in your heart, the roar of freedom. Sheep have no freedom. The sheep live with fear and uncertainty every day. A sheep never leads, a lion never follows. A lion is in complete control of his or her life. The lion does not accept scraps and does not get told what to do or where to go. The lion goes about his business fearlessly and with extreme competence. You will never lead a lion to the slaughterhouse. They will lead you. The lion is the king of the jungle. And it's not because the lion is the biggest. It's not because the lion is the fastest. It's not because the lion is blessed with any great advantage over other animals. It's the mentality of the lion that makes the lion the king of the jungle. What is the lion mentality? Fearless courage. Bravery is a key trait of the lion. The lion will never surrender. The lion will never lie down and die, not even if surrounded by 10 hyenas. The fight is never over until it's over. Maybe you're not surrounded by hyenas. Maybe you're just buried by bills. Maybe you need to stand up for something you believe in that no one around you agrees with. Do not give up. Do not give in. Be fearless in going after what you really want in your life. Maybe you've been at it for years and nothing has worked yet. Maybe you're tired of hunting your goals and seeing no rewards. Do not give up. You must keep fighting. You have no guarantee of success if you keep going, but you do have possibility. There is a chance. The only guarantee comes with quitting, and that is the guarantee of missing out on the life you really want. Keep fighting for the life you must have, regardless of the hyenas. No surrender. Certainty. The lion is certain. The lion never second guesses. When the lion goes in, it goes in 100%. There is nothing half-hearted about the lion. How great could your life be if you lived with the certainty of a lion? What if you just started believing in yourself and your own abilities? How far could you go with unbreakable self-belief? Who could you become if there was no doubt in you? If you trusted your intuition and just went for everything you want in life with the same ruthless certainty as a lion hunting its prey. You can't rely on other people to achieve the results you want in your life. You are the only one responsible for your results. Take responsibility. Take ownership. Take action. Only you know what's best for you in your life. Only you know which path to take in each moment of your life. You must make those decisions with certainty. Freedom. The lion has freedom because the lion demands freedom. The lion has freedom because he fights for freedom. His very nature says he will die for that freedom. Perhaps there's no more valuable asset on this earth than freedom. Something you could only understand if you've experienced a lack of it. In your own life, you must fight for freedom. Your own and that of others. The freedom to speak your mind. The freedom to be who you want to be. The freedom to live on your terms. Freedom means fairness for all. The freedom to be who you must be while allowing others to be who they're going to be. There is no greater value. Fight for your freedom. Protective. The lion is protective of everything of value. The family, the pack, dinner. If you threaten anything of value to the lion, you better be prepared to fight. What do you need to protect? What are you willing to fight for in life? Not physically, mentally, emotionally. What are you willing to sacrifice your time for? What or who keeps you going? What is your purpose? What or who gives your life meaning? That is worth fighting for. Competence. Lions are said to sleep around 20 hours a day. Still, they never go hungry. They get up and they get the job done. They earn their rest. They earn their success. They earn their freedom. There are great rewards for competence. In life, if you provide more value to others than anyone else in a shorter space of time, you will be rewarded, and you will be rewarded well and often. It does not matter how long you work. It matters how good that work is. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in. It only matters how much value you've created. Develop yourself into a competent machine. Work on what matters in your life with laser focus, ruthless determination, and a burning desire to do everything to the very best of your ability. That builds pride and respect for yourself.
You might be smarter than me. You could well be stronger than me. You might have more luck than me. But you cannot defeat me.
You will not detach me from my purpose. You will not distract me from my goals. You will not dethrone me. And you will never destroy me.
I will wake up with intention, alert, ready, focused. Whatever I want, I go after. Whatever I go after, I get. If it matters to me, I will get it. I will have it. I will be it. You cannot defeat me. You cannot detach me from my purpose. You cannot distract me from my goals. You cannot dethrone me. You cannot destroy me.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 2021 Career Fair. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Mrs. Primus. I am here with my colleagues, Ms. Trisha Khan and Ms. Alicia Toll and Ms. Mukisha Alexis. And we have our tech person, Mr. Anil. So we are working together to make this a wonderful evening for you. So today we want to thank you for being here with us. Thank you, the students who are joining us right now. Thank you for coming in. And we have a wonderful evening for you. So we have the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service with us, and we want to welcome them. Good evening, gentlemen.
Pleasant afternoon, everybody.
Good evening. So I have with me the officers of the Fire Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service, and I think Officer Kublal is with us.
Yes, ma'am. Officer Kublal is behind the camera. Let me formally introduce everyone. To my left.
Thank you, sir.
Is Firefighter Smith, Firefighter Peters, Firefighter Burton, and I am Firefighter Horn. Today we would like to welcome you all to the Sabaneta Fire Station to give you a simple tour of the fire station and our equipment, to give you an idea about the purpose of the fire service, our different dress codes, some of our equipment, and to entertain any questions that you all may have about the fire service. So firstly, let me begin by saying the purpose of the fire service, according to the Fire Service Act Section 3A, is to save lives, protect property, and render humanitarian service. The fire service is also responsible for providing advice to the general public on how to prevent damage by fire or other fire-related hazards. So we'll start over to my left by showing you the different uniforms. Firefighter Smith is dressed in beret, gray shirt, serge pants, and boots. This type of uniform is usually worn for when we have to work sentry duties, to have meetings, or any other formal engagement. Firefighter Peters is wearing our everyday wear, our station wear. Polo jersey, cargo pants, boots, and beret. This is the uniform that will be worn on a daily basis until we have to respond to some sort of emergency. Then we have Firefighter Burton, who is our resident rescue technician. This is the wear of persons who are responsible for carrying out high-angle rescue, trench rescue, or any other form of rescue operation that is required for the fire service to conduct. And of course, the uniform that you all will be most accustomed with is my uniform, or turnout suit, sometimes referred to as bunker gear by different persons. Helmet, jacket, trousers, boots, used for fighting fire and responding to any other type of emergencies. So now we'll move to look at some of our vehicles and the equipment. This is what is known as a water tender. The driver is Firefighter Peters, who you met just a short while ago. Inside our truck, you'll have firefighters sitting to the back with a breathing apparatus. The driver, Firefighter Peters, will be responsible for taking the crew to and from the emergency quickly and safely. In the event that we have to do some sort of cutting, fallen tree, or otherwise, we are well equipped with chainsaws to carry out that type of activity. However, if we are required to do forcible entry, to gain entry into buildings, we have our circular saw that is cut through concrete and metal. So as we go along, you can see we have our holes and other small gears that we're going to see in a little while, packed and ready to respond to the event of any emergency. Our trucks are fitted with rear-mounted pumps. Once you see our truck fitted with the rear-mounted pump, that means the truck carries water and oftentimes foam. This appliance, or fire truck as some may call it, is used to respond to most emergencies outside of hazardous material release. So let us look at some of the equipment that we use in the fire service. We have hydraulic extrication tools. This particular brand is called Mato. A lot of you all will be familiar with news articles and other reports about accidents. And on the roads in Trinidad and Tobago these days, we are having a lot of accidents. So to respond to that type of emergency, the fire service will come well equipped with these tools. Pump, hose line, and the tools that we use to extricate persons from vehicles. So we have the ram, spreader, and the cutter. What is oftentimes referred to as the jaws of life is actually a tool that is a combination of the spreader and the cutter. So next time you hear the term jaws of life, understand that that is one specific tool in the set of tools that we have for extrication. We also have small gears. Branch pipe. This is used to convey the water from in the hose to the fire. This particular branch pipe is a selectomatic branch pipe. We have AWG branch pipes or Angus water gun branch pipes that are also used in the fire service. These are our hose. In the fire service, we have 38 millimeter, 70 millimeter, and 90 millimeter hose that we use to get water onto the fire, to convey from the pump to the branch pipe and onto the fire. Some of these hoses are relatively light, others are heavy, that we use to get onto the fire. To use this hose, we just simply roll it out. That is a demonstration of how we get the hose out to carry this onto the fire scene. Make a connection, and then we advance to the fire, or wherever we need to get water to. So those are some of the equipment that we use. The fire service, unlike what some persons in our nation believe, doesn't only respond to fires. We also respond to medical emergencies. And to do that, the fire service is equipped with ambulances. You can see our ambulance is ready. Neatly packed away and ready to serve persons in the Republic who may be experiencing some sort of illness or injury. For persons who may have sick family members who may be in need of being conveyed to home, from home to the hospital, or from the hospital to home, and you are unable to pay the fee for GMRCP or other ambulance service, the fire service stands ready to be in the service of the people to provide this particular service for free. So that's our ambulance. We said that the purpose of the fire service is to save lives and protect property from hazards, whether fire related or not. Outside of fire related, we may have instances of hazardous chemical release. This particular vehicle is responsible for those types of hazards. This is what we refer to as the hazmat. So when there are those toxic releases, the persons in the fire service are well equipped to come with the hazardous material vehicle to respond to those emergencies. Another facet of the fire service is that we are well equipped and have well-trained persons in high-angle rescue operations. So I'll now hand you over to Firefighter Burton to talk a little bit about rescue.
Good day and welcome. I'm number 3313, Firefighter Burton. I've been in search and rescue for more than 10 years, and this is just a small cache of the equipment that we use for PPEs. Of course, we need rope. This is not any type of rope. It is nice and pretty, and it comes in many different colors. This is so that we can identify which line is being used for what purpose. We don't use one line, we use many lines for safety purposes. This is called a harness. This is what we would attach persons, rescuers, or those who are injured alike. And we also have basket stretchers, which we use to put those who are injured in. Of course, you would have heard all the many accounts of people who would have found themselves off of cliffs and so on, as well as the persons who are lost in the bushes. We go and look for them. We also do rescues when it comes to flooding, as referenced to Green Veil. Here we have some knee pads, because if there is an earthquake, we'll also need to get down and lower to crawl in all those nice confined spaces. This is another safety equipment, which is our goggles, and you can see how thick it is. That is for our safety as well. And this is just a vest with which we use so that we can be very noticeable in any situation or hazard that we may face. Of course, what is a fire station without a pole? Of course, we don't have any fires today, so we won't be using it. So you're going to walk back across to the truck. This here is our tender. And of course, we all know everyone likes or would like to get a ride in the truck. So now you're going to get a virtual ride. Of course, these trucks do require some work. We need to build up the air pressure, which will help the brakes to work. Which is why it is important that the driver is always in a state of readiness and that the truck is always ready to go. So now we're going to respond to a fire call. Drivers must be skilled in order to be a driver. You must have, of course, the relevant license, which is a class 4 or class 5, which is heavy and extra heavy. Driver is now making a turn here around which is our heliport. That is so an helicopter could land there. And now we're heading back to base. This is where we will call back the station and give a report as to what would have taken place on the fire ground. Thank you, Mr. Peters. I'll now hand you back over to Instructor Horn.
Thank you very much, Instructor Burton. At this time, yeah, come in front. So after that tour, we'll now entertain questions. So any one of us, you can feel free to ask us questions about the fire service. Go ahead, Ms. Primus. Go ahead, Ms. Primus. Kindly unmute your mic and ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Repeat what you said, please, sir.
I said at this time we will
Can you
entertain any
repeat what you
questions that you
just?
all may have.
Okay. Thank you so much. One of the students are asking, what subjects do I need to become a firefighter, and where do I have to go to train to become a firefighter?
Wonderful question. At present, the requirement is to have 3 O-level subjects. English is compulsory and any other 2. On successful completion of the screening process, which will indicate that the person would have those requirements, the Public Service Commission will send a letter to the person indicating that you have to do a written exam. After you have successfully completed the written exam, you will be required to do an aptitude or physical test. This will test your strength and endurance to become a firefighter. On completion, you will have to do a medical test. The medical will ensure that you are healthy enough to go through the rigors of the training process. And then you have to do an interview process with someone from Service Commission and the executive of the fire service to show that you are competent enough to train to become a fire officer. After that, you will be told where the training center is. You will report there and you will commence your training for approximately 4 months.
Thank you so much, sir. Another question, what are the skills required to join the fire service?
The skills
So are
that
there
will...
any?
Can you repeat?
I was just clearing up the question. Are there any additional skills?
Right, skills that could make you an asset to the fire service. It's numerous. Being able to drive heavy or extra heavy vehicles is an asset. Being an emergency medical technician is an asset. Being a mechanic or having the ability to work on vehicles is an asset. Having a trade, masonry, carpentry, being a joiner, any of those type of skills will give you an added benefit to being a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service.
Thank you, sir. We have, what is the training process experience like?
That is a trick question, but it's a wonderful question nevertheless, because I guarantee you, among the 5 of us standing here, we will have different experiences. What I don't want you to believe is that the training process is easy, because none of us standing here will ever share that particular experience, that it is easy. It is a difficult process. It is a process that calls for discipline, because you will be told when to wake up, when to bathe, when to eat, when to study, when to drill, when to go and sleep, when to come for roll call. So a lot of persons are of the misguided belief that the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service doesn't do anything, and firefighters are lazy somehow. But I could guarantee you that the process to reach to this point is a very difficult one. It will task your body physically. It will task your mind psychologically and emotionally. And you will also be required to study on a daily basis. Things like hydraulics, pump operations, chemistry of combustion. Those technical areas you will be required to study. So kindly stay in school and do your best, because the process to become a firefighter is not only physically difficult, it is also mentally taxing.
Thank you very much. We have this question as having asthma will you still be able to be in the fire service?
Having
The person
asthma?
has asthma. Yes,
Is that
sir.
person asthma under control?
They didn't say anything about that, but it
Okay.
seems like they have asthma.
The medical test will indicate if that person is physically well enough to train. Because there are a lot of persons who suffer with asthma who are able to excel and perform at a high level. But if the asthma inhibits that performance, then you will not be able to be a firefighter.
Thank you. Now they are asking about the salary. You have to be fit. And what is the salary? So you know that question was coming, eh?
Beautiful question. However, quite honest with you, I really don't know what the big starting salary is. Oh, I'm now being told by before you get allowances, $6,400. And then after you pass out, you'll get the allowances, meal allowance, house, cola, the special $1,000 allowance. So yeah, somewhere above $9,000 should be the starting salary. I stopped
Okay,
getting that
thank
salary
you.
many years ago.
All right. Up to what age can you join the fire service?
You should be 35, under 35. So by the time you pass out, you should be under 35 to give you a 20-year career. Although there are some nuances with that. If you are auxiliary fire officer before, that could be considered. If you are a member of the public service before, your service could be transferred, so that will also be considered.
Okay. Thank you so much to firefighter Kudlal, Instructor Horn, Instructor Burton, and the other instructors and of your team, sir. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for the tour. I felt as if I was driving in the truck. Thank you so much.
We try to make the experience as real as possible under the COVID restrictions.
And we appreciate that very much. You see how many questions came? And I'm very sure the children have asked more questions. So thank you so much. We are going to engage you more with our schools individually. So you enjoy the rest of your evening, sir, and your team.
You too, ma'am. On behalf of the Chief Fire Officer, the Executive of the Fire Service, at the Fire Service School, we'd like to thank you very much for including us in this process, and feel free to engage us at any time, because we are here to serve.
We will engage you. And we do see you serving, so we know you are not lazy, sir. But it's very, very hardworking.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, God bless you.
You too and your family.
So we want to thank the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service for being with us. We will have one video now, and then we'll go on to another presenter.
Who are you going to be? And if you'll notice, I'm not asking what are you going to do, but who are you going to be? I'm asking you about how you plan to live your life every day. How are you going to respond when you don't get that job you had your heart set on? For all of you who are going to be teachers, what are you going to do if the students in your class next year just don't respond to your lessons? For all of you going into business, how will you react when your boss gives you a goal that feels way too high? See, these are the moments that define us. Not the day you get the promotion, not the day you win Teacher of the Year, but the times that force you to claw and scratch and fight just to get through the day. The moments when you get knocked down and you're wondering whether it's even worth it to get back up. See, those are the times when you've got to ask yourself, who am I going to be? And I want to be clear, this isn't just some vague platitude about building character. In recent years, we've actually been seeing a growing body of research that shows that skills like resilience and conscientiousness can be just as important to your success as your test scores or even your IQ. For instance, West Point cadets who scored high on things like grit and determination were more likely to complete basic training than those who ranked high on things like class rank, SAT scores, and physical fitness. So what we're seeing is that if you're willing to dig deep, if you're willing to pick yourself up when you fall, if you're willing to work and work until your weaknesses become your strengths, then you'll develop a set of skills that you can mold and apply to any situation you encounter, any job you might have.
So good evening again. We have with us today Ms. Martin and Mr. Babu from Ministry of Tourism, and they are here with us, and we want to welcome them. Thank you for coming into our career fair. We are so glad to have you, and we are excited. Good evening.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
I just want to let you know that it's Miss Bagu, Jamie Bagu, my colleague, and thank you for that warm welcome. Ms.
You are very welcome.
To you and your team as well.
You seem to be excited and ready to go, so the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you as well, students, and we are very excited for this opportunity to be able to present to you all today. And so what I'm going to do is just take the opportunity to share my screen, because we have a presentation for you all as well. So we're just going to put up a screen. And let me know when you're seeing the screen for a presentation. Great. Can you see my screen?
I'm still seeing you.
All right, no problem.
I am now seeing, I'm still seeing you.
All right, I'll just share my screen now with you so that you can see my screen. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Great. So hopefully you're seeing my screen now.
No, I'm still seeing
still
you.
All right, so we're having some technical difficulties, but while we work on that, I don't seem to have the option to share my screen at this point. That's now, okay, here we go. All right, so sharing my screen as we speak. Great. So hopefully
Okay,
now,
now
my apology for that. Great. So what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm just going to put it up so we can get started. In present mode. So the ministry is happy to be present this afternoon to share with the students the career opportunities that are available at the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts. As mentioned, I am joined by my colleague, Jamie Bagu. She's our cultural program coordinator. Unfortunately, Jamie doesn't have her camera access to be with you all visually this afternoon, but she's here and present, and she's going to be presenting as well. Jamie is responsible for policy formulation for our culture division. She represents the ministry at meetings and other events. She's also responsible for designing, coordinating, and implementing and monitoring programs and activities for the ministry. I am the Tourism Services Officer, as mentioned. My name is Jamila Martin. I too am involved in policy formulation as it relates primarily to the tourism sector. I represent the ministry at various tourism-related committees, and also am involved in project implementation and monitoring activities on behalf of the ministry. And so at this point, I'm just going to play a snippet for you, and I'm going to ask you to think about this song. Tell me if you knew this song. And I'm sure that a lot of you are familiar with this song, particularly last year, and really last year, mid last year, and into the end of last year. And so if you have answered that this is Jerusalem by Master G and Nomseri Zikode, you are right. And this is an African or South African music artist duet. And they were very, very instrumental in promoting that song, along with Angolan dance group, which would have popularized the song, because the song would have come out since 2019, but in 2020, it really hit the airwaves internationally. And it was an opportunity for South African culture in the form of dance and in the form of language to be promoted worldwide. So we saw clips of people dancing across the globe, including construction workers, police officers, waiters in restaurants. It brought people together. And what was good is that it helped to push South African culture and language so much, because it's in the isiZulu language. It was actually sung, that the president or prime minister, or president, sorry, of South Africa said that they're going to use this song to help them to promote tourism once the borders reopen, because they realized that people were interested in South African culture because of the song that came out with it and the music. So why are we talking about, this offering or this opportunity? The reality is that the reason that this song really hit the airwaves is quite simple. And the reason why is it has to do with the issue of tourism and the culture and the creative arts. Now, when we talk about tourism, we're talking about people traveling to and staying in places outside of their regular place of abode. So they're leaving their home and they're going to locations outside of their usual environment, usually for less than 1 year. So if you're going anywhere and you're staying more than a year, we're not going to count you as tourists statistically. And you have to be going for leisure, for business, or for personal reasons. And I'm sure as you look at this photo, you would have, or this location, it's in Tobago. If you've said that this is the Nyland Pool, then you're correct. And the Nyland Pool is a big tourism destination across in Tobago. And it's a destination also for domestic tourists or local tourists, people like you and me. When we go across to Tobago to spend time, we are viewed as domestic tourists as well. But why talk about tourism in this way? The reason is because tourism, that movement of people for the purpose of tourism, for business, pleasure, and for personal reasons, that results in a lot of human activity, a lot of business activity results. And the persons that are used to support that human activity and those business activities are where the careers or the jobs are available within the sector. So we support, or we help persons to be able to enjoy a trip that is outside of their normal day-to-day activities. And so there are, in fact, 8 sectors of the tourism industry, and there are 8 places or areas in which you can find jobs. And this refers not only to tourism, but it's also the creative and the cultural sector, because within that, you're going to find jobs that are related to that to support tourism as well. So for instance, in the diagram, you'll see accommodation. Accommodation refers to where you're staying, whether it be a hotel, a bed and breakfast, Airbnb, a villa. You need people to support people who are staying there, right? Your travelers. Whether it's adventure and recreation, that refers to any natural places in the environment that people would visit. So if you're going zip lining, if you're going water skiing, hiking in a particular destination, there are jobs available to support travelers who want to get involved in those activities. Let's take attractions. Attractions can be places, sites, locations that you are going to. Maybe when you travel, you want to visit a museum. That's a part of our culture, our country's culture. And so jobs are available there. We're also looking at persons who may visit theater. They may visit art galleries. And so persons are employed in those areas as well. Events and conferences, big business. People travel to go to things like World Cup, FIFA, Comic Con, to name just a few, Tobago Jazz Festival. And so in coming and having persons come for these events, you have a plethora of jobs that are going to arise to support these travelers. Food and beverage, you have to eat once you're traveling. So there are going to be restaurants, caterers, food trucks, food vendors, street vendors. So the list is numerous in terms of active jobs that are going to be available there, or that are in fact available. Tourism services. Tourism services refers to jobs that help to the development of the tourism sector. We manage the tourism sector, and that's jobs in the public sector, jobs that are held by persons like Jamie and I. So we are involved in planning and developing tourism and culture sectors. Transportation would refer to how travelers get to their destination. So there are jobs in the airline sector, there are jobs in persons who travel on land via taxis, maxis, persons who travel via water and cruise ships, jobs are available. And finally, travel trade. Travel trade refers to people who package your trip. So people who work in travel agencies, whether they're the online travel agencies or the brick and mortar or literal buildings that travel agencies operate. So there are jobs, and we'll talk a little bit about those later on. So just to encapsulate what we said, we have a video for you.
We talk a lot about tourism. Tourism comprises the activities of persons traveling to and staying in places outside their usual environment, and all the products and services that make this travel possible and attractive are part of tourism too. These can all be summed up under 8 main sectors, and tourists interact with the providers of these products and services at various points in their journey. They may contact a travel agency to book their flight, source hotel rooms. All these transactions with different providers form part of the tourism value chain. Add the various streams of tax revenue earned by the country, and it's clear just how rewarding tourism can be from a personal all the way to a national level. All these links, distribution channels, and relationships across industries, government agencies, public and private sector bodies, and product and service providers make up the tourism ecosystem. And whether you knew it or not, you already play a part in the success of our country's tourism industry. Trinidad and Tobago Tourism, we each have a part to play so that our visitors enjoy their stay.
Great, interesting video. I'm sure you would have agreed with me. So at this point, what we want to do is hand you over to Jamie. Jamie is going to take us through the rest of the presentation as it relates to the creative, culture, and tourism sectors as a whole. Jamie.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for your rapt attention, and thank you for having us here. So to follow on quickly from my colleague, Jamila, what I'm going to try and show you is how we are interconnected in the creative and cultural industries, which you would, I believe you'll have forms 4 to 6s, right? So you may have heard these terms before. So I'm going to use them interchangeably, and we're going to look at the linkages between both industries, all 3 industries, culture and the arts and the tourism, yeah? So next slide. Our creative and cultural industries, this just shows a very small snippet of what the CCIs, what the creative and cultural industries encompass. The creative and cultural industries are very wide ranging, and they range from things like media and communications, music and film, print and electronic publishing, web design, PR, marketing, advertising. All these things matter. And as you realize, it's quite a lot already, right? And really and truly internationally, they have all these different sectors because the CCIs take up or play 3 very important roles within society. That is, they are there to help us make and circulate products. And these are products which in turn influence our knowledge, understanding, and experience of things that happen in the world, of things that we see. They are systems for managing creativity and knowledge. They are agents of economic, social, and cultural change. And the long and short, really and truly, is that they help with everything, all these sectors. They help us communicate with each other. They help us see each other. They help us feed ourselves. They help us do everything. Next slide. So globally, the cultural and creative industries are worth 2,250 billion US dollars. And pre-COVID provided up to 30 million jobs worldwide. Similarly, for the tourism industry, it was worth 1,481 billion US dollars. And the tourism industry basically generates 1 in 10 jobs. And that simply means for every 10 jobs you can think of globally, one of them at least, I would say 2 more, but one of them at least were tourism oriented and specifically in the sector, and the rest came from different cultural industries. Yeah, think about that. And these are the sectors that are most rapidly growing. They are also the sectors that will be most severely affected by COVID. However, there is hope, and that doesn't mean that they are dead. It doesn't mean that nothing is going to be happening later on. And in the future, right? Tourism also is a source of foreign revenue for many destinations. And I want to show more linkages on the next slide. More linkages between these two sectors. Do you recognize any of these logos? I'm hoping you do, and I'm hoping that you say, yeah, man, like I see Netflix, like I see Disney, hey, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. TikTok was a big thing last year when the pandemic hit the globe. What do they have in common? They are among the top Fortune 500 companies. For those of you who are studying business, I don't know if you've heard of that listing of companies that basically run the world, conglomerates that make millions and millions and billions of dollars. But why am I talking to you about them? Why am I showing you these things? It is because all of these companies rely on different aspects, different sectors within, you guessed it, tourism and the creative and cultural industries. Yeah? Think about it. All right, so let's zone in on one, Netflix. Yeah, Bridgerton was your age last year, ain't it? Yeah? Remember Bridgerton? Yeah, man. That was set during the Regency era in England. It captivated 82 million households. Now, that is not 82 million viewers, 82 million households, which is different. The number of persons in the households could have been more than one person, right? I am pointing out the Bridgerton series mainly because I want to show you how local tourism and the creative and culture and arts were utilized in the creation of that particular film. So, for example, in London, in England, where it was filmed, the filming locations were far and varied across the UK, which include places like Surrey, Bath, Hampshire, London, Buckinghamshire, and Kent, those places. And that helps with local tourism because you had to find period pieces. You had to find places that resembled or that looked very much similar to what they had back then in the 1800s, in the time period that it was set. What about the costuming? Costuming, the hair, even the way they spoke, even the type of events, the type of food they ate, the decor, all of that had to be researched. And all of that also is coming from our creative and cultural industries. Yeah, you all get that? Is that making sense? So, I mean, it just goes to show that everything is interrelated and everything is linked. Take Disney, for example, when they recently acquired the Marvel franchise. So all the Iron Man and the Thor, Hulk, all those, the Avengers series, they also required filming locations, which helped with tourism. They also required people who were able to do set design and decor, who could conceptualize and actually produce the film sets you saw. Even the green screen that they use required creative input. Next slide. So as you can see, creative opportunities are hidden within almost every single industry. Yeah? Traditional creative jobs are usually ones you hear of, like dancers, musician, a visual artist, you know, but there are many more options beyond this. And this is what we want to show you today. We want to show you how it doesn't matter where you start necessarily. What is required is really knowing who you are and what you want to do. Even if you don't know that now, that's fine, because you can find that information later on as you get older. Yeah, I know some of you would have already chosen your subjects. And again, as I was saying, it doesn't matter because it's so varied and it's so wide and it's so interrelated and interconnected. It does not matter what we would have studied. So, because many people would ask us, what can I study if I want to get involved in tourism? I mean, of course, there are certain things you have to be focused on and laser focused, right? So to become a doctor, you have to study medicine and sciences before that, yeah? So in our slide, what can I study? You would see that we have listed many subject areas that seem familiar to you, that I'm sure you'll have branched off into, or sure that you're focusing on. And what we're really trying to say is that it really doesn't matter if you wish to enter the creative or tourism sectors. Of course, if you're focusing on tourism, it will be best to focus on tourism, yes, but there are specialty areas within each sector that you can look at. What do these subject areas that you see here have in common? Don't know if you notice the little green and blue squares. That means they both contribute, or they both link to if you study tourism later on, or if you go into creative and creative arts later on. Where can you study this? Oh, no, not where, but what? What can we study otherwise? So this is at your secondary school level. And then this here now is at the tertiary level, university. And these subject areas here are all what is available locally and regionally. I mean, of course, once you go internationally, there are many other options, but they're more or less along the same lines. It does not matter where or what you study. I would have liked to have known some of these students' areas of interest, but Jamila, if you want to pipe in here, no?
Yeah, so certainly, even though we're not sure what areas you're interested in offhand, at least not right now, probably later on in the question and answer we would learn, but these are some of the courses or programs that are available. For those of you who are at CAPE level, you may be looking at university studies. So there are associate, undergraduate, and graduate programs available at by these names at the different universities locally as mentioned. So at the University of Southern Caribbean, at UTT, at UWI, we have those programs, and there are also shorter programs. If you just want to taste some of these programs, whether in the creative arts or the culture or the tourism area, there can be short courses that you could look at doing just to see if it's something you might be interested in, basic cooking courses, if it's in line with tourism, etc. So places like the Costat might do tour guiding courses, or places like you may be looking at places like CETAL, which would do flight attendant certificate courses, etc. All right, so those are things that you can consider, but definitely locally and internationally, there are options.
Yes. So we have for you now 2 short videos giving you first-hand knowledge, first-hand experiences, recounts of their experiences within each sector. The first one, I don't know if you recognize, Mohammed Muwakil of the Freetown Collective. He's going to give you a little bit about his background and what he does as a musician. Many of you may not know that he started university as an engineering student, but he's a full-time musician now. And then we would have a video on Chef Jason Peru, and he would give you some insight. It would give you some insight about his experience and knowledge within the tourism sector.
My name is Mohammed Muwakil, and I am a founding member of the Freetown Collective. The name Freetown comes from the place that I grew up in, which is now called Belmont, but before that, it was named Freetown by a group of Africans from Yoruba land, which is in West Africa, who came here in the late 1800s, and they bought land from where Picton is straight over to Belmont, and they came here as indentured laborers, not as slaves. And it was known wherever in the world you were, as long as you could find your way to Freetown, they would buy your freedom for you, and you would work and pay them back. And to me, that was a very powerful concept for music. Neo-folk, urban contemporary. That's what we've been described as, neo-folk or urban contemporary, which to me simply means that you're telling your story. Neo-folk, folk music, storytelling music, that's strongly guitar-driven and voice-driven in an urban contemporary manner. So you wouldn't listen to it and just say, oh, that's just folk music, because the manner in which it is delivered and the topics and stuff that we deal with, a lot of times it's not folky. So yeah, a lot of artists here think that Trinidad is it, or the Caribbean is it, or whatever, but there's so many places that people can accept your music if you make music for the world. But if you make music that is very niche, it's much harder to do that, you know? And I think that's where Calypso always seemed to win out. A lot of the topics were so broad that the Calypsonians could travel with their music because they spoke about humanity and human problems, you know what I mean? In the past, 4 years, we've worked on 3 different movie projects. So we did God Loves the Fighter. We acted in that as well as did the soundtrack for it. And there was a movie project called Cheese, which Lou acted in as well as he did the soundtrack for it. And most recently, a short film of mine, a short story of mine, was done as a short film in Curacao. And Lou also did the soundtrack for that. So we've been working in film as well. So music and film really gives us a...
Okay, so we're gonna pass on to our other video.
When I started my career at a tender age of 17 years old, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would have had the fortitude or even the motivation to even produce my culinary work through a publication. Even at a young age, I knew that such a venture would encompass thousands of hours of work and concentration with immense levels of diligence and accuracy.
He explained that early in his career he lacked the confidence he needed, but over time this changed.
I was always afraid of being judged by my peers harshly and never living up to an accepted standard in my sector. Yes, I was shy and easily intimidated, and this is how I started my career.
The internationally known chef said he quietly wrote down his recipes, methods, crazy culinary ideas and formulas and kept them close to write a publication one day. But it was his experiences locally and internationally that gave the confidence he needed to expand his career.
My days of being shy were long gone, and I became Chef Jason, the bubbling star of the Caribbean, colorful, vibrant, and full of exuberance. Throughout my years, the beautiful people I met along my journey would constantly ask if I had a cookbook.
He said he has worked in restaurants all over the world with award-winning top chefs and TV pioneers. During his career, Chef Jason has produced 11 different TV cooking shows in Trinidad and Tobago, Canada, the United States of America, Africa, and many other countries. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
Okay,
So what do these two videos have in common, really and truly? Is that they both had a passion, they both had a determination, and they both represented Trinidad and Tobago in their various aspects, because you would not have heard it, but Mohammed and Freetown Collective has represented Trinidad and Tobago at the Edinburgh Festival in the UK and other smaller festivals, many of which I can't think. But it is important to note, and I want to link it back to something that you will watch, that the video was playing before with the keynote speech by Mrs. Obama, that she asks that you should know, who are you? This is a point in your life where you're going to be asking who you are, what you're going to become, what you have to do. Some of you already know, some of you don't know, and that's fine. What is important is that you build your skills. They both utilize multi-skills in their career, in their quest for their career. Jason writing the book, because not everybody could write a book, despite you could say, oh, it's just a collection of recipes. No, it's not, because he had to use other skills to get the recipe right, to be able to put it together and see how the public could consume it. Same thing with Mohammed when he writes his songs, when he writes his poetry, because some of you may know him as spoken word artist as well. So with that in mind, and before we talk about the careers in the tourism and creative sectors, I want to know if we have any questions from the students.
Yes, Miss, there is one question. How has the pandemic affected the tourism and the economy in Trinidad and Tobago over the past year compared to before the pandemic?
All right. Well, as we all know, the pandemic has shut our borders. Yes. So the tourism and the creative sectors were the two sectors most severely affected, in that we are unable to have visitors come to our shores, and that we are unable to have as many events that we usually have, which is where the creatives usually make their money from during the year. Case in point being Carnival. Another example is the Tobago Jazz Festival and other little jazz shows we've been having. In terms of theater, etc., we realize all these performance spaces are closed, and because of the nature of the work that we do, where you have to gather and it's gathering and it's people being in close proximity to each other, it has severely affected us. Yes. However, it is not to say that it has completely shut us down, because that word that we were all hearing in 2020, pivot and digital and virtual, those three words have now become key for us. So in the tourism sector, our local and or what you call domestic tourism would have gotten a thrust, because persons were now encouraged to visit places of interest within Trinidad and Tobago. Creatively, a lot of performers turned to the online platforms, and they were able to still be able to not only entertain us, but find a way of coping with the pandemic themselves by utilizing that platform to do what they like to do, what they were born to do. Because some people, they can't perform. If they are a performer for a reason, you're creative for a reason. Yeah. And yeah, that's how it's been. I wouldn't say it's all been better roses, but it definitely has affected us severely. It has affected us globally. It's not just in Trinidad and Tobago. However, there is hope at the end of the tunnel, because we have other ways, and the sector in itself is thinking and looking at itself to see other ways and taking examples from other persons who are beginning to open back up to see how we could move forward in the future. I don't know if that answers their question.
Thank you very much. I believe it has. You can go ahead. There are no more questions.
Sure, no problem. So here now we're going to jump. Jamila and I are going to talk about the careers with tourism and creative sectors, right? We have a very long list. It is not an exhaustive list. It's not the only list. There are other things that might be missing. But you have things like air traffic controller. You have things like art director. An art director is somebody who overlooks the look of an ad. So that thing you see on television, or even we want to pop up on YouTube when you're watching your favorite movie, there's somebody called an art director who gives you the general look. So it will say, okay, this has to feel modern, it has to feel contemporary, it has to feel maybe a little bit in the 60s. Maybe we should get this look for it instead. Maybe we should utilize this theme instead. That there is somebody who says what it should look like. If you find it look messy, sometimes it's intentional. Sometimes what they mean to do. Amongst other careers, we have you saw chef, you saw brand ambassador. Some of you may know about a brand ambassador. And for most of these jobs that we have listed on these slides, which you would get from your schools after, you would see the education level. A lot of them require that you have at least a bachelor's. Yeah, a bachelor's certificate. We can jump a little bit now to the careers available in the government.
Great. So
and specifically within, yeah, go ahead, Jamila.
Talk about the careers available. So when we speak to, or with regards to the government, we're talking about the major entities that represent, or in the public sector, that represent the tourism, culture, and the arts sectors. And so there are jobs available, for instance, the cultural program coordinator, and that's, for instance, Jamie's job, Ms. Bagu's job. So she is involved in that, that particular area. There are also jobs as cultural sector specialist. We have research officers. So these persons specialize in doing research to support the decisions that we have to make for the culture and the arts and the tourism sector as well. We have tourism coordinator, and that person is the one who brings together all of the technical information that his team would have researched and come together with, or come up with, in order to present a decision to, for instance, the permanent secretary or the minister. We have tourism officers, we have project engineers. So there's a scope for persons who like project management or involved in some form of engineering in the government sector, because these persons would assist with the different sites and attractions that we have locally under our purview, and also partner with sites and attractions that are under the purview of regional corporations and of private bodies. So they partner with the ministry to help develop those sites, whether they be culture and creative sites or tourism specific sites like our beaches, etc. We have scope for graphic designers at the ministry. At our performance entities, we have performance entities under the ministry's jurisdictional purview. So they are managers of those entities, they are musicians, there are stage and equipment managers there. And in the performance spaces, we have booking managers, sound engineers who control the sound that would be used during different productions, theater productions, etc. We have stage hands. I know probably you'll have heard of stage hands. They are part of our sector as well. Ushers. And that speaks to just generally under the ministry. But imagine we also have in our entities that are responsible for marketing and product development or implementation entities. We have Tourism Trinidad Limited in Trinidad, and across in Tobago, there's the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited. And so they get involved hands-on in terms of managing tourism-related matters for different islands or each island. And the Tobago House of Assembly has a division of tourism, culture, and transportation, where they also get involved in managing from a government level tourism in Tobago primarily. So I don't know if Jamie wants to pitch in with anything else here, but these are just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
the jobs that are available.
So. But there is something that you should know, that these sectors are not 8 to 4 jobs. Yes, there are jobs within these sectors that are the traditional, normal 8 to 4, 9 to 5 work that you do within a day. But really and truly, the crux of these industries are 24/7, because you watch a movie anytime, not so. It takes time to create a film. It takes time to write a book. It takes time to produce music. What is important is that if you are entering the sector, that you have the knowledge, you have the experience, you have the guts, that you have passion for what you do, because that is what is going to help you move forward. That's what's going to be able, that will be a motivating factor for when things are not working like how they are now. And that's what helps drive those who you see survive post-COVID in the creative industries and the tourism industries, is because they are dedicated and they have the passion for it. You don't have to exclude titles such as jobs such as administrative managers, lawyers, accountants, because those people are also needed within these sectors. I mean, if you're on the stage, if you're making the movies, who helping you with the finances? Not the accountant. Yeah, who's helping you with your intellectual property? The legal officers, the lawyers, things like that. So no aspect of what we do in Trinidad and Tobago, no aspect of what you could think about what you're studying excluded from these two industries, arts and culture and tourism.
Yeah, that's correct. And in Trinidad, we haven't even begun to explore some of the opportunities available in the sectors. Abroad, you would be amazed at what jobs you can attain, things that we don't even think about here, because the sector is still small or relatively young or not as well developed in these sectors. But abroad, oh my goodness, the sky is the limit. So we encourage you to also look at what is going on internationally and see how you can benefit us locally as well.
And that's part of what we wanted to show you all in this presentation, is that it is not, even though you say you're going to become part of the tourism sector, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a tour guide or a hotel operator. You could become something else that helps us, this periphery, this support sector. So like, I'm taking my job, for example, cultural program coordinator. My degree is in carnival studies, but I also have, and the requirement for the job is a degree, as well as experience in events management, right? But I also have experience in theater. I have history. I have a tourism background as well. What else I have? I just have a lot of experience behind me. But the whole thing is, if I didn't know what I knew, and if I didn't have the passion for the culture and the arts, I wouldn't be here. I would be doing something else. Even languages, something as simple as languages is very important for both of them, because as a cultural program coordinator, I also do something called cultural exchanges. And cultural exchanges is brought about because the country has what you call reciprocal agreements with other countries. So we exchange different things, not only trade and etc., but culture is also part of it. And twice a year, or at least twice a year, before COVID, that is, we had visitors, a different group every year from a different region in either China or India come in. And I have been the person, I acted as tour guide for them, I acted as the liaison, etc. There was one instance where I was with a Chinese group and they needed to go to the grocery. So we went to Massy. And while we were there, they said they had somebody who could speak English, but I had found out that when people say they could speak English, it's not the English that we are accustomed to. And it's still kind of difficult to translate certain things, right? Because I do not speak a word of Mandarin. However, we found out we all spoke Spanish. Yeah. So we were communicating in Spanish. So at the cashier, where I was explaining certain things to them about the foreign exchange rate, etc., what they could use to pay, etc., everybody was like dumbfounded. They were like, oh my gosh, how is she communicating with them like this? And you see, in knowing that, it just happened to know the language, Spanish, it helped me fulfill my job. It helped them do what they needed to do, and it helped them feel a little more at ease because now they could come to me and tell me their needs. So I'm saying all of this to say that it's just that it was an all-rounded experience, an all-rounded background as well that helped us, because they were one of the groups that were very happy. I mean, all my groups are happy when they come here. But they were most satisfied. I mean, they want to come. They even came back after that on their own just to visit because I was able to talk to them and because they knew what to expect when they came here. Yeah. I don't know if you want to show them these sites, Jamila. Let's go through the sites.
We have any questions if you have from the students?
Or any questions if they have right now?
Any new questions that came in? Mrs. Prime?
Right now, we have no questions at the moment, but we need to wrap up, Miss.
Sure, no problem. Well, okay, well then we were just going to show them some of these spaces that were available that are under the ministry's purview. These are the performance spaces. We also have some landmarks, natural sites, and under the cultural exchanges, these are just some of the groups that we've had, as well as we had the NSSO going out to China as well. And this is our contact information. If they have any other questions later on, or any information they would like to know, they can interact with us via email, or they can also, and they should follow us on Instagram and Facebook if they do have accounts there. Culture Division TT and Tourism, Culture and the Arts.
I do have a question, however.
Yes, miss.
My question is, are you all forced to develop the beaches that we have? Cannot be some events that cannot come to the fore?
So
forced to develop?
Well, first of all, to clarify, Ms. Primus, generally for the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts, only 4 beaches fall under the ministry's jurisdiction. So the beaches that we have total control over would be Maracas, Las Cuevas, Manzanilla, and Bethany beaches. So those 4 beaches we develop on our own we don't have to sign any memorandum of understanding. We don't have to necessarily consult with anyone. Now, all the other beaches in Trinidad and Tobago fall under regional corporations. So whether it's the beach in Pinal or the beach in Miaro, those beaches are manned by the regional corporation. So it's only if we have to develop those beaches, we have to form agreements with those entities before we go in and make any changes. So with COVID, what you've found is we've been working more assiduously on developing the beaches that are directly under our purview, those 4 that I mentioned. Any others, it would be through agreements with those regional corporations that have jurisdiction for them.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Someone is asking if you can share your contact, please, with us in the chat, which will be really nice, your email and the phone number. We will appreciate it very much. If we need any more information, what we can do is we can contact you, and probably you will be able to share more information with us with the schools individually. But your information was really, really good. I was blown away by the amount of job opportunities that can be acquired from tourism. You know, it is so much, it's a whole lot. And I think some of the persons who are looking on, some of the students will be glad to know that, as you said, that some of the jobs are flexible hours, because we are in a time where persons operate, you know, in different time zones. So it will be easier for the children. I even recognize that some of the things that you all spoke about, it can actually generate entrepreneurs from our students. So we could have a big group of, entrepreneurship can come out from tourism as well, or which we are seeing in when we visit Tobago, we see a lot of it, right? So I really thank you for your information. It was really nice having you. I am really sorry I did not get to see Ms. Bagu's face, but her excitement and her voice did a lot for her. I would like to say, you know, it was a nice, well, I visited Tobago and I had a ride on the jet ski. Have you ever ridden on the jet ski, Ms. Martin?
Oh, yes, definitely.
I didn't do the jet ski, no. Just kayaking.
Okay.
Less of a rush.
Now, the jet ski is fabulous. Yes.
Ms. Babu, I know you sound like a kind of jet ski person. But
I am.
We appreciate you all coming. It was really, really nice. And thank you so much for all the information that you all gave us. So we are going to get to you. We are going to let the students, any more questions that we have to ask, the students will get on to you, and we see your email address and your phone numbers there. So thank you. Have a blessed evening.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
Students. Thank you, team.
Yes.
You are welcome. Take care. God bless. So that was tourism. They had a very interesting, wow, lots of information. It blew my mind. And as we continue with this, oh gosh, this career fair is great. It's so exciting. And we want to thank God that we are here and we have with us some really, really exciting persons now with us who will share some stuff with us. And, you know, seeing that we are in COVID, you students, you can ask questions because we have with us Dr. Quinlan, who is going to take over right now. And I can see him scratching his head. So he's wondering what questions you all are going to ask. Good evening, Dr. Quinlan. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I was scratching my head because I'm not a COVID expert. I'm a surgeon. So when you said COVID, I was like, I don't have anything prepared for COVID really.
Yeah? And you see, I set you up because I got a response from you.
Okay. Well, having heard the last presentation, part of it, I'm thinking about switching careers now myself.
But it seems like you love your career. So I'm going to...
I do. I was supposed to have a team here with me, but if you can see how I'm dressed, I'm still in surgery, guys. So I'm in between cases. So I'll try to, pique some interest in what I do, and hopefully I'll be able to, get someone stimulated to come and take over from what I'm doing here. So let me go ahead and share my screen. 1 second. Yep. Are you guys seeing?
Oh yes, we are seeing St. Patrick career.
You're seeing it, good. I thought. Yeah, I'm not exactly in the setting that I wanted to be, because I didn't think that I was gonna still be in surgery at this time, but I am, unfortunately. And this just shows, guys, that, you know, what the career path of being a doctor, you know, it's really demanding, but still, you know, it's very rewarding at the same time. Still seeing my screen? Yeah? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We are seeing your screen.
All right, great. I just wanted to get the technology part out of the way, so we're good. So my name is Wayne Quinlan, and you can see from the credentials there, which I think is important for the career fair. I have a BSc, a MBBS, a DM in obstetrics and gynecology, and I'm also a gynecologist. But to break it down for you guys, it just means that I deliver babies and I do cancer and I do surgeries on women with cancer. So how did I get here? What you need to do and what I do is you must have, I'm very religious, sorry, so I had to put this in. You must have a deep relationship with God. And, you know, once you pray, God will guide you as to the career path that you should be. I do believe that doctors should be humble as well. And when all that is taken care of, you must have some drive and ambition to get very far in the career of medicine. And you must also be very patient because it takes a very, very long time. I put family support there because I had a very good family support from my mom and from my sisters. It's important, but not necessary. Yeah. So God, humility, driven, patience, and family support. This is a picture of Antigua. So I'm not Trinidadian. I am Antiguan, and that's Antigua there. And it's important to know that I left Antigua to come to Trinidad to study medicine. I studied medicine right here, and I never went back. I married a Trinidadian and I stayed. And this is what I left to come and do medicine. So sometimes there's a little bit of sacrifice to get to the career goal that you want, but it's all well worth it. And my entire family's happy that I stayed here. Yeah, so just some pictures of Antigua. This is what I left behind, guys, to pursue a career in medicine. Right, family is important. So what do you really basically need to do medicine in general? You need at least A levels. I saw that for the other career path there that they mentioned that you need a degree, but for us, you will get your degree, but to get into medicine, you really need to do mathematics, biology, chemistry, and physics at A levels. Yeah, there also now, when I studied it was since 1996, but now you can get into some pre-med programs in UWI, and then you can actually get into medicine, which I think is the easier way to go if you don't have those certain subjects in A levels. So my MBBS means I studied at the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus right here. It takes about that, and that's a basic medical degree. Now, I am a subspecialist, meaning that I just kept on studying, kept on working. But at the end of 5 years, if you do an MBBS, which means Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, you will be a doctor. And from there, you can either stay as a general doctor, which we need a lot of. They call them general practitioners or GPs, and you can branch off, and that will help. You will help a lot of people just by being a general practitioner. And from there, you can branch off from after being an intern and become any specialty that you dream of, any specialty that you want to be. But the MBBS is the foundation of your career in medicine. It takes about approximately 5 years to get an MBBS degree, many sleepless nights, a lot of exams, a lot of sacrifice, but trust me, I've been doing this for over 16 years. It's all worth it at the end. There's no greater satisfaction than saving a life, bringing a life into the world. And most times patients are very, very grateful for that. The next part of my degree, I did a Doctor of Medicine degree in obstetrics and gynecology. That would take approximately 4 years. It was on-the-job learning, meaning I was in the hospital every day. I did clinics, and I did 24-hour call. And basically it was to deliver babies and perform surgeries on women with emergencies, women with, I don't know if you guys know about fibroids and abnormal bleeding and those kind of things. So I do deal with only the female anatomy. But after you have your MBBS, you could deal with literally any part of the body. We have brain surgeons, we have neurosurgeons, we have ear, nose, and throat surgeons and doctors. We have lung surgeons and doctors. We have heart surgeons and doctors. The difference between a doctor medicine and a doctor surgery is that the doctor surgery is hands-on, which I am. I'm very much hands-on with what I do. All right, so this is me there. Literally, I just delivered the baby. So that this could be you, and you see how happy I am. I'm the one on the right. Yeah. Okay, and then I completed my oncology career by traveling to the UK, and I became a female cancer surgeon there. I trained at a hospital called the Christie Hospital in Manchester, and it takes 2 years for that. So if you're wondering why you needed maths to do medicine, it's because you need to count up all of those years I just said. 5 years, 4 years, 2 years, yeah? And you know that's 11 years to get to a subspecialty. You don't have to get to a subspecialty at all. But, you know, it's very helpful. I'm trying to speed along because so this is the Christie Hospital. I have to get back to theater, but I was so looking forward to this that, you know, I didn't want to pass up the opportunity, all right? So currently I'm a consultant at the St. James Medical Center, where I'm the surgical team leader, and I'm also the coordinator of the MDT. MDT means the multidisciplinary team meeting, and that's where a bunch of doctors, that's the St. James Hospital, that's where I work. That's where I am right now, actually. And this is a surgery that I did where I took a lady's uterus out with a big fibroid on it. And this is my my MDT team where, so there are different doctors here in this photo. I'm in the middle, but we have physicists who give patients radiotherapy. We have medical oncologists there who give chemotherapy. And well, I do, and this is my team. And I just wanted to highlight, I have a team of all females. So I'm not only addressing the males in this presentation, I'm also addressing females. And I must say that medicine is now overrun by females. So we need the guys to come out and need more doctors, male doctors in the field. And we also want to keep the female pride in doctors, in doctors, very, you know, we want to keep it up. Yeah. That's my presentation. I hope I helped someone. I'm ready to answer questions, and I do believe in the team. Dream it, believe it, make it happen.
Well, I am so happy you're hearing all the excitement in your voice, Dr. Quinlan. But
yeah, I'm very passionate about what I do, and that's something that you need when you do medicine, because as you could tell with COVID, it's not always fun, and we're in a very serious time. And from what I heard on the news today, you know, we might be shutting down a lot of the hospitals to accommodate COVID. So we really do need a lot of doctors, guys. So please, I can also give my contact. So I can, you know, I am a UE examiner as well. So, you know, I could make things happen. If someone does really want to pursue a career in medicine, I can, you know, make some overtures to that person or persons, hopefully.
Okay, we have one question. What subjects you study at secondary school?
My secondary school was in Antigua, and what they do, they branch you off into what you want to be from Form 4. So they actually ask you what you want to be. So I actually studied Spanish, French, biology, maths, physics, geography. You asked me about 1992 there. Biology, maths, physics, social studies they had at the time. Yeah. You got all of that?
Seems to still have. Yes, sir, I got it. And I'm hearing the passion for Antigua in your voice, man.
Yeah, well, I'm married to Trinidadian, so I have a lot of passion for here as well. No.
Well, what happened, like the Trinidadians steal your heart, but the rest of you is in Antigua.
Very true, very true.
We have
Yeah.
another question. Could
Yeah.
someone use a nursing degree as qualification to practice medicine?
Unfortunately, no. The basic part of the degree where you get a Bachelor of Science, it's very different to how the nurses train. So a nursing degree won't propel you into getting a medical degree, unfortunately. But it will help when you are doing the practical part of your studies, which will be year 4 and 5. I do know of nurses who crossed over to become doctors, and they're very, very skilled just because they have that background knowledge from nursing.
Okay, well,
no, there's no direct link.
Okay, thank you so much for your answering all those questions. We have no other questions. And I feel so sad for you to leave us now, because you seem to be so passionate about.
Yeah, well, what time are you guys done? I have one more surgery to do. I might be able to come back if it doesn't take long.
We finish at 3:10.
3:10. What time?
Yeah.
Nah. It'll take me about an hour and a half, so we'll see.
I know.
But I will email my contact in case someone
has questions.
Wants to talk about pursuing a career in medicine. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be in what I do. I know a lot of people are afraid of surgery. A lot of people want to do the mental aspects. 1 second. Yeah, I'll be 1 second. Yeah. See, I'm still at work. Sorry. So they're ready for me. So there are many aspects that you can pursue. I focused on what I was doing because I think there are other parts that other doctors that might be presenting, I'm hoping. So I just focused on one part, and I just hope that I made it exciting enough for someone to step forward and at least pursue the first degree and then move up and up and up. And it's all for a greater good. And we help others through God's strength by pursuing our goals and what makes us happy.
Thank you very much. It was really exciting. I would have thought of being a doctor after I heard you if I was a little younger, but
my internet is a little bit funny. Was that?
I said I would have thought of being a doctor if I was a little younger, but
let me just say there's no age limit.
All right. So thank you so much. Right. I know I'm very busy. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having me, and I'll happily do this again next year or whenever you have a next one.
Thank you so much, Dr. Quinlan. We will be happy to have you.
Thank you very much. Take care. Nice to meet you all.
God bless you.
Bye-bye. All right, take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right. That was Dr. Quinlan. He's a gynecologist, and plus he's also a surgeon. And he took time out of his busy schedule to be with us today. His presentation was really exciting, so much information in such a short space of time. So we want to have a video now as we take a break before we introduce our next presenter.
Confidence isn't walking into a room thinking that you're better than anyone. It's walking in knowing that you don't have to compare yourself to anyone. Comparing yourself to another person, that isn't even in your system. There's no thought of comparison. There is no competition with any other human. You are not above anyone. You are not below anyone. That's confidence. When you can get to the place in your life where comparison is dead, where you are good enough, not to others, but to yourself. That is confidence. And you can be good enough right now because you are good enough right now. You might just need to change your mindset. Confidence can be developed in many ways. You can start with your physiology, your posture. If I asked you what a confident person looked like, would you be able to tell me? Of course you would. They look strong, sure of themselves. How are they standing? They're standing tall. How are their shoulders? They are back, upright. They make eye contact. Their head is up, not down. Now, a shy or introverted person might say, yeah, well, that's all good for outgoing people, but I will never be confident. Anyone can develop confidence. Some might have to work on it harder than others because they've conditioned themselves into a lack of confidence for much of their life. But anyone can develop confidence. Even the majority of shy people have moments where they aren't shy, like around people they trust, maybe family, friends, or their partner. Moments where they can be themselves fully. So the shyness is selective, which means you can make confidence permanent if you consciously decide to be the person and do the things you do. Not just around those you trust the most, but all the time. Being confident doesn't mean you're loud. It isn't about being the one that has to be noticed. It's the opposite. It's knowing you're great without having to be seen. It's the silent winner. It's the humble champion. If you lack confidence, you can change. If you lack anything, you can change. You can be anything in life, including radical personality change, if you are committed to finding the answers. Unlock the greatest version of yourself, your true nature, of confidence, of pure positive energy. Unlock your authentic power today.
Guys, our presenter is on its way, so we'll have another video. And until they get here, those videos are very, very interesting, and they have to actually motivate you.
One day a son goes to his father and says, "Father, what is the value of my life?" And the father gives him the stone and says, "Son, if you want to know the value of your life, take this stone and go to the market. And if anyone asks the price, don't say a word and raise up 2 fingers." So the boy does as his father says and goes to the market. He wanders around, and suddenly an old woman approaches him and says, "How much is this stone?" And the boy doesn't say a word, just raises up 2 fingers. And the woman says, $2? I'll take it. The son is surprised and runs back to his father. He says, "Father, there was an old woman at the market. She wanted to give me $2 for the stone." And the father says, "Son, the next place I want you to go is to the museum. And if anyone asks the price, don't say a word and raise up 2 fingers." So the son takes the stone and goes to the museum. After about 20 minutes, there is a middle-aged man in a suit who approaches the boy. He says, "Sir, how much is this stone?" The boy doesn't say a word and raises up 2 fingers. And the man says, $200? I'll take it. The boy is surprised and runs home to his father. Father, father, a man in the museum wanted to buy the stone for $200. Okay, son. The last place I want you to take the stone is a precious stone store. Walk inside with the stone, and if anyone asks the price, don't say a word, just raise up 2 fingers. So the son runs off into the precious stone store. After finding it, he walks inside and there is an old man at the counter. And as the old man sees the stone, he jumps up and screams, "Oh my God, you have the stone I've been looking for my whole life. What do you want for it? How much is it?" The boy doesn't say a word and raises up 2 fingers. And the old man says, $200,000? I'll take it. The boy can't believe it. He jumps up and runs to his father. He says, "Father, father, the old man in the precious stone store wanted to give me $200,000 for the stone." You see, son, you understand now the value of your life? Life is all about where you place yourself. You can decide if you want to be a $2 stone or a $200,000 stone. There are some people who love you and for whom you're everything. And some people will just use you as a commodity, and for them, you will be worth nothing. So it is upon you, my son, to decide the value of your life.
Let it go. The things that have happened in the past, the things that aren't happening right now, let it go. If you want to be free, stop locking yourself into the prison of your past. See the light. Stop holding yourself in the darkness of your past. If you really want to move on, release the heavy weight from your back. If you don't want them to win, let it go. Move on and create your best life. You would never allow a thief to enter your home and live there rent-free. So why do you allow thoughts that steal your joy to enter and live inside your mind? Let it go. Had a moment of confrontation? Let it go. Don't allow it to live in your mind, stealing the joy from the rest of your day. Someone did you wrong? Let it go. They will ruin more of your life if you allow them to invade your mind like a virus, which will only affect the quality of your life in every other area. The best revenge is always moving on, letting go. Showing your ego is brave enough to let go. Showing you are strong enough to enjoy your life, to live your life fully. Regardless of what happens or who isn't doing the right thing by you, let them have their accidents somewhere else. Life hasn't gone as planned. It doesn't for anyone. Move on. Focus on the good. Those who live amazing lives haven't gotten lucky. When things don't work out, they move on quickly and focus on the next positive. They drop the negative like a hot potato and focus on what they can do today to get in a better state. They don't seek sympathy from family and friends. They focus on what is good in their life and let go of the negatives. Don't cheat on your future with your past. It's over. Commit to your future and it will be a strong, healthy one. If you don't let go of your past, your future will suffer. Understand this very important fact. You are the one who suffers most when you hold on to resentments, when you seek revenge. You are the one who wins when you do let go. Richard Carson once said, "The key to a good life is this. If you're not going to talk about something during the last hour of your life, don't make it a top priority during your lifetime." Maybe we should all take that advice. Your ego will tell you, once everything is perfect, then I'll be happy. But your soul knows the truth. Be happy, then everything is perfect. No, life circumstances won't be perfect. But if you can get into the right space, you can then get to the understanding that everything happens for a reason and be at peace with that. So be happy. Do whatever it takes to find your happy. Not because everything is good, but because you see the good in everything. Not because every circumstance is a miracle, but because you see the miracle in life itself. Albert Einstein once said, there's only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is. I know which space I want to live in. What about you?
Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be any different. I think for myself, and I know many of you, you think forgiving means accepting what has happened to you. Well, it is accepting that it has happened to you. Not accepting that it was okay for it to happen. It is accepting that it has happened, and now what do I do about it? Forgiving is giving up the hope, not holding on, hoping, wishing that it could have been any other way than it actually was. Giving up the hope that the past could be any different. And when I got that, I think it took me to the next level of being a better person, because I don't hold grudges for anything or any situation, and neither should you. It's letting go so that the past does not hold you prisoner, does not hold you hostage.
Yes, that's the story of two monks on a pilgrimage, and they come across, in a village, they come across a young 17-year-old girl with a long kimono trying to cross a very muddy road, but she's not daring to step into the mud. So one monk picks her up, carries her across the road through the mud, puts her down, and so the monks walk on in silence for another 4 or 5 hours, just practicing noble silence. And then after 4 or 5 hours, they're getting close to their destination. One monk says to the monk who had picked up the girl, "Oh, you know, you shouldn't have done that, because we monks are not supposed even to touch women. So you shouldn't have picked up that girl. You're not supposed to do that." And the other monk says, "Oh, are you still carrying that girl? I put her down hours ago." So the other monk was still carrying the girl, the event, in his head.
4 hours
and
later.
For 4 hours, he was walking with this burden.
Yes, right.
And that shows the reluctance of the human mind to let go of the past.
It's easy to blame those that have wronged us for just about everything that is wrong with our life. If it wasn't for them, I would be happier. If it wasn't for them, I would have more money. If they didn't do this, I would be where I want to be. Most people get so caught up in blaming, they continue to blame and sabotage their own life long after the person is gone from their life. Most people hold on to the blame because it's easier than moving on.
Those who take responsibility for their life and are wanting to move on and put the past behind them are much more likely to gain freedom, success, and happiness. Now, this does not mean there aren't horrible people in the world that have done wrong by others. It is not condoning others' behavior. It is taking back the power they have from you when you are the one suffering long after they are gone. Who wins if you keep blaming them? Who wins if you move on, forget about them, and create the best life and success you could ever imagine? Who wins if you move on? Who wins if you forget about them.
Take back your power. Blame them for what they have done, but don't blame them for what you haven't done. Blame them for what they've done, but bless them for making you stronger, for making you better, for showing you exactly what you don't want. You can blame the world for bringing them into your life, but then get grateful for all the lessons it taught you, all the strength it gave you. Know in your heart, if they knew better, they would do better.
How good does it feel to take that baggage off your shoulders, to focus on building your future? What a blessing. Let go. Move forward. Never look back.
The best revenge is not taking any revenge. It is simply moving on with your life, creating the best version of yourself.
Thank you so much. A pleasant good evening as we continue with our career fair. We have with us we have Satya Chan from Ministry of Agriculture. Good evening. How are you, sir? Good evening. Is Ministry of Agriculture here with us?
Hi, good evening. You hear me?
I am hearing you loud and clear. Good evening.
Okay, good. Good evening. Pleasant good evening to all the participants. My name is Satya Rupchan. I am an agricultural assistant 1 attached to the Ministry of Agriculture, but I'm based in Point Fortin, right? And I am essentially a field officer working in the Ministry of Agriculture. And today, basically, we just want to highlight, careers in agriculture. So
So Satya, are you hearing us? We are not hearing you.
hi, good evening. Anybody hearing me?
Oh, we are now hearing you. We had a little lull.
Sorry about that. I got bumped off there for a minute.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Right. So so I'm gonna put on my PowerPoint presentation. All right, you all seen the presentation, yeah?
Yes,
Hello?
sir, we are seeing. Yes, we are seeing your presentation. Thank you.
Good, right. So today we want to discuss careers in agriculture, right? So now this presentation is a bit, it's a bit interactive. Feel free to stop me as we go along. If you all have any questions, feel free. It's not a problem.
Okay, sir.
Right. So basically, agriculture is the growing of crops and the rearing of animals through the application of scientific principles and facts acquired over time. It includes the cultivation of soil for the growing of crops, the rearing of animals to provide food, clothing, and shelter, and other products. It is important to note that agriculture is a business, right? Because we want to put in to get maximum yield with minimum labor and input costs. and in order to get a maximum profit. At the end of the day, agriculture is business, right? So we're going on. Now, this is the basic perception of agriculture, hard work, dirty soil, you put in your hand in mud, getting all messed up. This is the perception that we all have, about agriculture. But sometimes, we fail to realize how important agriculture is, right? And if you ate a meal today, say thank you to a farmer because that food came from a farm, right? Some of the first thoughts on agriculture, it provides the basic necessities to live life: food, clothing, and shelter, right? All of which are derived from farming, right?
Mr. Cassia, Mr. Satya?
Yeah.
Sir?
Go ahead.
Can you adjust your screen a bit, please? It's a bit small.
You seeing it now?
Yeah, we are seeing it.
Right.
Okay.
Good. Right. So, so in agriculture, it's not just about farming, right? Farming is just one aspect of it. But there are aspects of agriculture, the scientific aspect, the sales, the agro shop, all these people that provide services for agriculture, so as we say, it's more than farming. And when you think about it, almost everything in your lifestyle is connected to agriculture: the food you eat, the clothes you wear, the house that you live in, the furniture that you sit on, right? Right, some of the primary producers, the farmers produce vegetables, on the field, and protected agriculture in terms of hydroponics. And now hydroponics is a big hit, especially with the younger farmers, especially even with school children, right? And now you're using cell phone and ICTs to control, and to program when you water, when you irrigate, when you fertilize, right? You have farmers who plant fruit crops, root crops. And then you have the people that do the nice ornamentals, like, for example, La Vega. And then, of course, we have the forest industry where we get timber or, lumber or wood from, right? Then we move into livestock, livestock would entail all the animals and bees, rabbits, pigs, and even some, people rear wildlife as well. Right, then we have, another aspect is fish, aquaculture or saltwater fishing, or, out in the ocean. Right, some of the training opportunities for primary producers are the Farmers Training Center, which is a part of the Ministry of Agriculture. Also, the ministry offices out in the various counties provide training for farmers as well as regular members of the public. We have the Kendall Farm School in Tobago, ECS Nitrogen in Cuba, and you have other organizations, private, that do training from time to time. Right, then we have some of the secondary agents. The secondary agents are the post-harvest management, for example, like NAMDEVCO. They provide that service to farmers at a minimal cost, right? Then we have merchandisers, Massy stores, they would buy fresh produce from local farmers, right? Then you have the lenders, which is Agricultural Development Bank. We have the agro shops, seedling producers, fertilizer and the agrochemical companies, and the livestock feed. And then we have people who bring in farm equipment, right? Right, some of the training opportunity for secondary agents: the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Eastern Caribbean Institute of Agriculture and Forestry, ECIAF, which is located in Centeno, close to Piarco. Then we have the University of the West Indies in St. Augustine. We have the Caribbean Industrial Research Institute, CARIRI, and then we have other private organizations as well. Right, so we're jumping into the careers now. Some of the careers that would be, on the market for the students: agriculture instructors and education specialists, to teach agriculture in secondary and farm schools and tertiary as well. Right, then you have extension advisors, that's like myself, we go out and we advise the farmers on the field. Then you have soil conservationists, agricultural economists, they work out the monetary aspect of it. Then you have sociologists, agriculture journalists, statisticians, and some agencies such as FAO, WTO, CARDI, CARIRI, also employ, some people with regards to agriculture research. Research and management. Agriculture researcher is somebody who does research, in order to get maximum crop yield and to safely control the pests and to conserve natural resources, as well as to use biotechnology, in order to get hardier crops. Also, some researchers do soil testing, for example, experiments and livestock development, pest and disease ID. For this position of researcher, right, basically is a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, and of course they can move up to the Master Science level. Farm manager. Basically, a farm manager, for whether it be a crop farm or a livestock farm, the farm manager would oversee the day-to-day activity, of raising the crops or raising the animals, right? Supervise labor, even takes part of training the laborers on the farm, and also managing pests and diseases. Basically, the position requirement for this position is a diploma in agriculture or a BSc degree in agriculture. Agribusiness manager, involved with the business side, as I mentioned, agribusiness, involved with the business side, trying to maximize profit for an agricultural enterprise, right? Agro shops, agro processors, nurseries, right? The position requirement, a diploma or a BSc degree in agri-science or agribusiness management. Agricultural engineering, right? As we all know, a part of agriculture, we must have buildings, we must have roads, we must have drainage. So agricultural engineering encompasses all of this: structural, irrigation, waste handling, right? So basically, this position is a BSc in agriculture engineering, which is available at the University of the West Indies. Agronomy or soils. An agronomist is a specialized type of soil and plant scientist that deals with soil management and crop production. Right. A biotechnologist, bioinformatics scientist, use technology and computer science to find solutions to biological problems out in the field, helping farmers to, to mitigate pest and disease risks and, that kind of thing. And then we have tissue culture and micropropagation, right? Using small parts of the plant in a sterile environment to produce clone plants, in large numbers. And now with the livestock side of agriculture, right? We have livestock production, farm manager, sales manager, veterinarian, farmhand, and livestock scientist researcher. These are just some of the careers that are available. And in food sciences, they deal with the safety research and product development before food hit the shelf. For example, this is for more like, the processing, like the pepper sauce, the ketchup, that kind of industry, the local producing. Then we have the health inspector, officers in the chemistry, food and drugs division, Ministry of Health. They would collect samples from plants, animals, and products, and they would do testing to ensure that the food is safe for public consumption. Quarantine officers, they are part of the Ministry of Agriculture, right? Basically, they are stationed at the airports, the seaports, and other areas where incoming cargo comes in. Fisheries biologists, tasked with taking the action to maintain fish populations, right? Fisheries manager, oversee activities and workers in fisheries. Aquaculture farms that provide artificially raised seafood to markets and grocery stores. Monitor health of stock, treat any issues or diseases that may arise. Aquaculturists involved in the rearing of aquatic species, example, tilapia, conch, shrimp, and cascadura. Offhand, in Trinidad and Tobago, we rear the tilapia, the conch, and cascadura locally. Another exciting career is in the forestry division, a forest ranger. Forest ranger basically help protect the forest land, from fires, and help to maintain the wildlife in the forest. Horticulture is the art and science of cultivating crops for human and societal needs. For example, you know, the aesthetics, you know, the like the beauty, you know, for example, landscaping. You know, when you go to for example, Palmies Park, Botanic Gardens in Port of Spain, you know, you want to see the place nice, and when you step into the landscape, you know, you feel good. So, you know, it's a social thing as well. And then you have the arborists who manage all these, you know, all these big trees and prune them, like for example, in the Botanic Garden as well, you know. Right, so now we get into the qualifications for some of the careers that we mentioned. Well, the basic thing is you must have 5 CXC passes, inclusive of mathematics and English. Right, once you have those 5 passes, you can move on to the diploma in agriculture. Then after that, you can move on to the Bachelor of Science, and then you can move up to the Masters and, you know, even much higher. Source of agricultural education, you know, both University of Trinidad, the ECIAF campus, and University of the West Indies offer both undergraduate and postgraduate degrees within agriculture, right? Other training opportunities, well, you know, we have 4-H in primary schools where the students get a hands-on approach with the class teacher, you know, maybe like standard 4, standard 5, somewhere there, right? Then we have the Farmers Training Center, which is open to the general public. And then in Tobago, we have the Kendall Farm School that does some training as well. And these are some pictures here of the Farmers Training Center, you know, a lecture in progress. Then we have a little practical going on there with some trainees planting out some lettuce. And then, as I mentioned, ECIAF, we have 2 students going to bottle feed a kid. And then we have the last picture, the Kendall Farm School in Tobago. Right, so basically an agro-entrepreneur is somebody who starts a business from agriculture, like for example, like the people who, you know, who make pepper sauce, you know, people who, you know, who add value to the product, you know, even those people who now making local chocolate bars, you know, dark chocolate and making the cocoa butter and things. They are seen as entrepreneurs, you know, they build their own business, right? Where others see pain, they see gain. You know, and for the students who, you know, who not quite ready to commit yet, you know, the thing is, you know, like farms and feed supply stores and even the agro stores, you know, and even some companies that do agriculture would be willing to take them on during the school vacation, right? They could get hands-on experience, or they could even, you know, come as an OJT in the Ministry of Agriculture and they get to see what we do. And then they, you know, they can make up their mind. So we're winding up. Agriculture is at the base of everything that we do. You are what you eat, and always think of agriculture as a business, right? A career in agriculture is profitable and grow something today. And I've come to the end of today's presentation.
Thank you so much. We have a few questions for you, sir.
Sure.
First one, which are the top 10 agricultural products produced in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, I mean, off the top of my head, I can give you now. Well, we have cocoa, right? We have citrus. Locally, we have broilers. You know, I mean, we do supply our own broilers for the local market as well as eggs. We do, yeah, eggs. Coconut. You know, we do a lot of coconut production as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I called out 5. So I just had to brainstorm for the other 5. Any more questions in the meantime?
All right. That's a lot. What are the leading farm commodities in terms of cash and receipts?
Leading farm commodities.
I'm really not sure how to explain that one. But let me go on to the other one by the time. The students are asking these questions.
Okay. Because I know looking at the
how important is agriculture to our overall economy?
agriculture is important to our overall economy because I mean we need food to survive, right? I mean even though the import bill is high, right? I mean we need to secure we need to we need to secure our nation in terms of food security. So that is why we try to involve the students from as early as primary school with the 4-H program.
Okay. And yeah, a lot of persons since the COVID has started their own kitchen gardens.
Yes, yes.
We have what factors affect crop production?
Right. Number one is the weather. Number two, pests and diseases. And then number three, like the cost of input supplies, like for fertilizer, for pesticides, for weedicides, all of that come into consideration for production.
Okay. Another one is what does it take to grow organic produce?
Well, in order to grow organic, well, I mean there's no pesticide use, there's nothing at all. Just basically manure and the soil.
Okay, so the person is clearing up the question concerning commodities. They are saying the question is commodities by revenue. Which product makes the most revenue? Did you hear me, sir?
Yes, I hear you. That would be that would be that would be like citrus.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thank you again. We have do we have family farms in Trinidad and Tobago?
Say about that?
Do we have family farms in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I can make mention of the I saw this one on Facebook. You know what I mean? In light of COVID, you had children getting involved, children being at home and doing virtual classes and so on. There's a farm in Carlson Field where the parents got the children involved, and mind you, that's a dairy farm, and they got the children involved and they make yogurt on the farm, and they actually flavor the yogurt and they sell in the farmers market at the Ministry of Agriculture compound in Chagonas. So yeah, there are family farms and there are children involved on the farms in Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. Is crop insurance important?
Yes, it is very important. However, right now in Trinidad and Tobago, we don't have it, unfortunately. So agriculture is a huge risk. Farmers and producers face a huge risk. Like for example, we under a yellow alert right now in terms of the weather. And in certain areas, like for example, Sandy Grande, some farmers are underwater and they would lose the crop. They would lose the crop. But however, the Ministry of Agriculture would pay compensation, based on what you lose.
Okay. How can technology assist farmers?
Technology can assist farmers in many ways from book.
I think we got cut off there for a minute.
Yeah. Predial larceny is basically, theft. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question, approximately how many farms are in Trinidad and Tobago? Could you give us a number, please?
Well, I can't answer for Trinidad and Tobago, but I can answer for St. Patrick West. We have approximately between 1,200 to 1,500 registered farms.
Oh, goodness. They get cut off. Wow. He got cut off, Mr. Satya got cut off.
No, I'm back. You hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Keep on answering the question. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Okay, so as I mentioned, I can't answer for Trinidad and Tobago, but however,
yes,
in St. Patrick West, our jurisdiction here, we have roughly 1,200 to 1,500 registered farms.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes.
What is indoor farming, and do we have that in Trinidad?
Yes, we have indoor farming. Indoor farming is basically, everything is controlled within a building, including the lighting, and you have to feed the plants all the nutrients, and and actually there is one in El Socorro. Yeah, so indoor farming does exist, but however, it's really costly. It is expensive to set up and to run. Your day-to-day cost is a lot.
Well, you almost answered this next question. What are the disadvantages of indoor farming?
Well, I mean, that is your major disadvantage is the cost factor of setting up, and then your day-to-day running cost, because remember, everything has to be working on a 24-hour basis. So then your electricity consumption is going to be sky high.
Okay. What are the benefits of a greenhouse, and is it like indoor farming?
Well, actually, we have two types of greenhouse. We have a semi-enclosed where you only have the top covered and the sides are open, and then you have a fully enclosed greenhouse where the sides are covered, so it's fully enclosed.
So it have different types of greenhouses.
Yes, there are two main types, and however, in Trinidad and in the Caribbean, the semi-enclosed one, that is just the top cover, that is the one that is recommended for our conditions, for our weather conditions.
Okay, okay. Well, Mr. Satya, we are so grateful to have you with us. This was really enlightening, and it seems like you piqued our students. You piqued their attention. They started sending the questions like wildfire. Thank you so much. It was nice having you. I know you are busy, and you came from, you took time out to be with us, and we are really grateful. Thanking you, because I don't think that persons realize how many things go into agriculture. It's only when you get into it, then you really see the work and some of the how technology works as well. So thank you very much. We pray that we can connect with you. Is there a number or email address that you can put on the chat for us to connect with you again?
Yes, I'll put my information in the chat. Yes.
Okay, that will be so great. We really want to thank you for being with us and for taking the time. That was Mr. Satya.
You're most welcome.
Okay, so we just had Mr. Satya Rupchan from the Ministry of Agriculture, and he really did a wonderful job. We thank him for his time. He came from St. Patrick West, and that is in the Point Fortin area. And we have so many more. I think there are so many more things to know about agriculture that we may need to ask him to come again. But we want to wrap up for today, thanking all our tech persons, Mr. Anil, thanking you, thanking the other officers, Ms. Makisha Alexis, Ms. Trisha Khan, Ms. Alicia Tull, Ms. Rodriguez George, and Ms. Primus, myself. We want to let you know that we are having, we want to thank all the providers, the service providers for being with us. And for tomorrow, we are having the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Child Protection Unit. We are having NADAP. We are also having personnel from Student Support Services Division. So we are encouraging you, the students, to come on out tomorrow and see some of the things that we have. We have such exciting presenters with us. So thank you all very much for being with us. It was a pleasure having you. So we are saying bye-bye. We are going to be here tomorrow, same time, to give you even so much more. And the providers are all ready and waiting to give you the information and let you know how to make your informed decision when it comes to choosing your career. So thank you. Have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.